Okay, so I'm going to make a quick presentation about IDbox. That's a project I built the first hackathon beginning of the year. I won the hackathon. So first, before talking about IDbox, I will just quickly present myself and what I do. So my name is Julian Boutadou. I got a master in electrical engineering from France and a computer science engineering from the States. Specialized in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and also decentralized system. That was back in 2009, 2010, so before the big hype about blockchain. So I like to describe myself as an entrepreneur, engineer, but I spend most of my time doing programming. And so what I do is I used to teach mathematics and physics. I build different ideas. So I'm a full stack developer. My main interest is in blockchain, AI, and Ethereum. I won 5 hackathons in the past 6 weeks. TechCrunch, Blockchain FinTech Week, also RBS, and I remember previous speaker. That was last year. So all my interest are in identity, decentralized energy system, also decentralized transportation system, everything that is around the IoT and programming, and also obviously a blockchain. So let's talk about IDbox. Basically, the big problem is about 1.5 billion people in the world today lack official identification. This is mostly in developing country. And this is the big problem because if you don't have an identity, then you cannot really request any kind of service from healthcare registration system. You cannot vote, you cannot get insurance, or you cannot get any money from a bank. So the solution, so after talking with ABTI associates and different people from Papua New Guinea, they were saying that basically all the people of different startups, all the different entrepreneurs and people that trying to build projects, they always focus on something that they've got in developed country. Basically, they've got a smartphone, and then they say, okay, let's build a fantastic smartphone application that use the latest Samsung or something, and latest phone. But in developing country, those people, they don't have a phone, they don't have electricity, and they don't have anything. But what they got is they've got an analog SMS phone. So I said, okay, maybe with my background, I can think about something that can use an analog SMS phone to create an identity without electricity, power grid, and without internet, because they don't have internet as well. So then I came up with this cost-efficient device that enables people in developing countries to create a unique identity without having access to internet and power grid. So basically, they use the basic analog phone, they use an SMS, they create an identity, and then they can use it to register for any kind of services. And the ID box is used only once in their life. It's like you go to an embassy, you could get the passport, then you don't need to go to the embassy to request a new passport if you just want to travel. I'm going to show you a quick video.
IDbox is a cost-efficient device that enables people within developing countries to create a unique identity. The IDbox device is composed of a Raspberry Pi, SMS chip, fingerprint recognition, and a solar panel. By combining these components, it allows us to create a secure, identity-based service that will revolutionize the way that developing countries participate in a range of activities. From Papua New Guinea to Ghana to Samoa, we are able to ship the device to any local area, even if they don't have power or the internet. The devices, which cost less than $50, are hosted in a range of centralized areas like schools, churches, banks, and coffee shops. People use their SMS phones to text the IDbox device to create a unique mapping of their phone and fingerprint, creating a personal ID. Once someone has created an ID, they don't need to use the box again unless they want to assign their ID to a new phone. Across the country, millions of people do not have an ID. This is John. He has recently heard about IDbox. Using his phone and the local IDbox, which is located at his nearby church, he is able to create a unique ID. He sends an SMS to the ID box to activate the registration process. He puts his finger on the fingerprint scanner. The box then encrypts the fingerprint using an advanced encryption process and then sends the hash of the fingerprint by SMS to the blockchain attached with John's phone number. If the identity doesn't exist, it then creates a new identity on the blockchain and sends a confirmation message to John on his phone to confirm his new unique ID. With his new identity, John is now able to view his balance, history of transactions he has made, and to securely transfer money to other people who have created a unique ID. Each time John wishes to make a transfer with other active users, his unique ID is verified against the blockchain. He is quickly notified of his transactions on his phone. He can also participate in voting systems, healthcare registration, and ownership of land. Thanks to IDbox, John's engagement with these activities has been revolutionised.
So, implementation-wise, this is how I start the prototype, build like a workflow, everything. I did it overnight, so you can see this is not very great, but just to imagine something doing like try to prototyping a new project, new idea. Because rather than trying to build a trying to think about an idea, I said, okay, this is an hackathon, let's build a real project. Yeah. Not like most of the ICO at the moment. So basically, this is myself on my place, and you can see I've got a blockchain, Ethereum. So for those one technical, that proved that I was actually building the device during that night. All the different, I've got everything at home. I've got a 3D printer and all the stuff. So I said, okay, let's start hack the device. And this is the first prototype. It looks like a bomb, but it's not. And I made the mistake to put my phone number on the box, and then because I tweet the photo on Twitter, and then my phone number got blocked. But I demonstrated the prototype during the hackathon, and everything was working. So you could put your basically it was like using iris capture, where you could use a fingerprint, and then you got like a little pad and some light. And on the side there was the SIM card, and you can use the solar panel to power the box, even if there was an indoor. So obviously you cannot use the solar panel. But, so now I'm gonna present you version 2. So 2 months after running this little prototype hackathon, so I won the hackathon, and then I left. I went to Papua New Guinea with the people that was running. They were running the hackathon to actually demonstrate the device over there and see if it's actually potentially, if it's possible to implement the device over there. So this is version 2. It looks less like a bomb, and I've got it here. So basically what you do is you buy a SIM card from any local provider, and so I've got the SIM card, and then you plug the SIM card inside the box, and you text the box turns on, you put your fingerprint on the box, and then it will basically hash your fingerprint, link the fingerprint to the phone number. But this one was version 2. And then you can think about privacy and kind of problem of hashing your fingerprint and putting it in the blockchain, which is not very good. So then basically what I'm doing, oh, and I forgot something. This is the solar panel that you can plug into the box. So the box doesn't need internet, just a SIM card. So SMS protocol communication, and you can plug it, and you've got like different plugs. And then I thought about, okay, I'm not really, like the Estonian government, what they do, they get your fingerprint, and you put your fingerprint on a fingerprint sensor, but then they send a hash into their server. So imagine if one of the hackers hack into the database of the Estonian government. They basically have your fingerprint forever. And it's very hard to create a new identity because the identity is linked to your fingerprint. So then I thought about something like, okay, they've got SMS phone, so I know what I can do. I can actually build an ID card. So this is what I've done. So that was version 2. Now I'm building version 3. Version 3, so I'm running 3 pilots, coming pilots. One is in Southern Pacific, so Papua New Guinea. One is going to be maybe in West Africa with Ghana, and the other one is South America in November. The main application for IDbox, obviously, the IDbox, the main aspect of IDbox is to build a protocol. So you give access to different services to prove that this person is unique, and then they can build different services on the top. But for the demonstration, for the demo, the pilot in Papua New Guinea, I'll be using healthcare registration, land registration, and banking. So we will do like some money transferring, and also different, like also for voting system in those different regions. That's it. So if you got any questions.
Is it a proprietary algorithm that you use to create the hash of the fingerprint?
Yeah. The question is, what is the algorithm to hash the fingerprint? Yeah, because at the moment, that's what is actually never been done before, is because trying to hash a fingerprint is very difficult, because depending if you on the morning, on the evening, your fingerprint is always different, and depending on how you put your finger on the box, then you always get a different fingerprint. So this one, the version 2, only uses a fingerprint, and the new version will be using iris sensor. So what you can do, you can mix the iris sensor with the fingerprint, and then you can build an algorithm to try to build a private key and public asymmetric encryptions. But this is not really what I'm doing. I'm doing something different. Yeah.
Thank you. Cool. I'll ask another one if I've still got the microphone.
Yeah.
So there's clearly a use case there around refugees, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
If you're hashing, I guess, fingerprints and iris areas in war zones, do you have any thoughts around, I don't know, loss of limb or damage to these body parts, shall we say, that are being hashed and scanned?
So remember when you hash something,
if you lose the limb.
Yeah, so remember when you hash something, like if you use the blockchain, if you're a little bit technical, if you own Bitcoin, Ethereum, any crypto, the only way everyone knows that you've got someone that's got that many tokens, how much money they've got, but you cannot access them because you need a private key. What I do is I generate the private key on the fly. That's the thing. So I don't need to store anything. That's basically the power of the project. The only way for someone to access the information is to have the person. That's how I do it. And if you damage if you cut your finger for some reason, then you can always prove that it's you if you're using a multimodal identification system. Because what you do, you will calculate what is the distance between the accuracy of the algorithm and what is actually compared to the new biometric that you're using. And then you can always see what is the distance and say, okay, I'm 80, 90% sure that this person is unique. What I'm doing, I'm also doing a GPS location identification system. So then it reduces the amount of users that register in this particular place. So then you can always see who's trying to prove that it's himself. Yeah. No more questions? I think I've been too long on stage. Cool. Yeah, that's it.